I was going to say this isn't a dystopia warning, but today has proven that there's very much still a need for dystopia warnings, hasn't it? To put it mildly. Now, the reason I'm giving you an update and I haven't got my usual fluff, stuff to look at, memes, etc., is because I'm recording this off the cuff because I'm actually due to go on holiday. My first holiday since 2018, before the bad event, cue 2020 flashbacks. Enjoy your, moment, have one. Sorry, on today of all days, there's not really the need to encourage pandemic reminiscing, is there? There is enough horror, frankly. Safe to say I am livid at what was announced by Labour today. I didn't want, any silence or absence to be seen as tacit compliance or agreement with what they have done, because it is indefensible. It's just pretty poor timing that they chose to start shooting the poor. And I'm about to go off on a short break, as opposed to my usual breakdowns that occur at home. Everything about this has been despicable, from the briefings that absolutely did happen, because that's precisely how it works. There are people out there trying to defend it, trying to claim that this is all the big bad press. I mean, the press are feral, click-obsessed psychopaths, but they don't pluck it out of the air. And if you don't believe me, Google the dark arts. If the press isn't briefed by Number 10, then it will just look at what the Tories were proposing to do and draw comparisons, although I imagine there wasn't that much of a comparison on this particular occasion. Of all the policy to drip feed, this was not the policy to drip feed. People have been worried sick for weeks about this, and it has a real life impact on people who are struggling with life limiting disability, with conditions that affect their everyday life, some of which may be psychological and worsened by this kind of behaviour. I have friends on benefits, I have family members that need to claim incapacity benefit, I have friends with severe disability that will be impacted by this. I have conditions myself that, if I was claiming benefits, would be impacted by this. There is absolutely no part of me that is in agreement with it, and I will aim to get something out before I go off on holiday, but I just want to make it perfectly clear that I find it absolutely contemptible on every level that the priority of this government is apparently, shagging a good headline out of the Daily Mail and giving more fuel to the voters that absolutely do not respect them and will never vote for them because they're buying the con of Farage, while simultaneously giving fuel to all the people in different factions on the left who said this was going to happen all along, and making a mockery of the people with disability who voted for them in the vain hope that they would be something better. But instead we have careered back into 2010, pig fucker Cameron territory, albeit with absolutely shattered public services, no social care, no care in the community, or any of the stuff that Labour left behind when they left office last time. No, we have got a bomb site, and we have got people being forced to now jump through ever more challenging hoops just to get a little bit of support, having already endured 14 years of abject fucking misery, and the patronising delivery of it, painting this as some kind of moral crusade, as a bunch of people in John Lewis suits stand there on 91k a year plus expenses telling poor people, well, you're just going to have to suck it up, when they could be taxing the wealthiest people in this country. But let's face it, the reason they're not is because they haven't got the balls to do it. They have got a pretty sizable majority. They can do pretty much whatever they like, and they are choosing to do this. And my motto moving forward is, if they want to act like Tories, they're going to get the Tory treatment. They're going to get both barrels of criticism, except they're going to get the criticism from the people that tried to help them attain power in the first place, in the hope that they would be something different. And after what we all endured for 14 years, I don't think there's anything wrong with hoping that this lot were going to be different. That hope was pretty much all we were clinging on to after years of corruption, misery, and punishing attitudes towards the poorest people in society. Also want to make it clear that a big part of what helped the last government get elected was not only grassroots support from not only independent voices online, but also tactical vote campaigns. That tactical vote campaign put them there. That tactical vote campaign can get them the fuck out again. They are alienating their core base. This is akin to, I don't know, the Tories offering out free joints. It is absurd behaviour from a Labour government. And there is obviously no way in hell that I will ever support the most vulnerable people in society being played off against each other. Not only that, another slow clap for Labour comms, because they've not even released an impact assessment. That's going to be in the spring statement, which is another week away, which means another week of rampant speculation and people not entirely knowing how this is going to affect them personally. Well done. Honestly, well done. You've only had, 14 years to prepare for power. People are not knowing how this is actually going to affect them, right? They're sitting there online going, what does this mean? What does this mean? But people should be able to decipher how a government policy is going to affect them without being forced to pore over a green paper on the government website. It should be clear and it should be direct. If you're going to fuck someone hard up the arse, you better tell them how you're going to do it in advance. I don't just encourage people to flood the inboxes of their MPs. We're going to need some direct action on this. Even if they do U-turn on it, the damage is done because they've tried to do it. But sadly, I don't think they are going to U-turn, no. They've chosen who is going to take the hit. No, they think against all logic and sense that there's like an untapped pool of resources amongst, I don't know, the people that are caring unpaid for their loved ones, the people topping up their terribly low wages with universal credit, and the severely disabled. Yeah, they're just, they're just a resource just waiting to be used as cheap labour by the billionaires that Labour is refusing to tax, aren't they? It makes zero sense politically and morally and economically. You could make tens of billions of pounds by putting a wealth tax on the richest people in this country, and that would only affect 20,000 people. It wouldn't make people that are living with life-limiting conditions, that are scared and worried, fear that they're going to lose the lifelines that they rely on. It is despicable. In the run-up to this announcement, I had comments from people on my YouTube, on my other platforms, plenty of them, people that are worried, that are scared. My friend Graham, who runs Politics Social, had people saying that they had self-harmed as a consequence of the worry of this. There's also been reports of people that have taken their own lives. This is Jeremy Hunt style cruelty, unnecessary cruelty. As I said at the beginning, if they're going to act like Tories, they're going to get the Tory treatment because they are willfully alienating their voter base. I encourage people to vote tactically to get out the threat. I don't think it takes a lot of reminding for people to remember just how bad life was under the Conservatives. Now, just because Labour have implemented a few good policies, have made a bit of an attempt before rowing back to tax, the richest people in this country, it does not make them immune from criticism. No government, no party is immune from criticism. I just didn't expect that 8 months in, before they have a chance to show the country that life can be improved, before people really start feeling the benefits and feeling a bit of hope, that they would choose to go here. It makes zero logical sense, and as I said, is frankly immoral. We've not had time for worker reform to kick in. We've not had time for the waiting list to reach a reasonable point. We've still not made enormous progress in terms of mental health, if any, broadly across the country in the grand scheme of things. So I don't know if they're sniffing the pens at number 10, or if they want to lose the next election before they've barely even started their first and only term if things carry on this way. But if they're not trying to destroy their core voter base, then they've got a pretty funny way of showing it at this point. Anyway, thank you for coming to my sweary TED Talk. Feels quite fitting that I'm going to be visiting France, the place where people, wonder how you expect to change anything if you don't burn everything down. I just want anyone living with disability and mental health conditions to know that I'm on your side. I'm not on the side of those fucking clowns.